Hey, this is Sunny, and I'm live once again. I help women with anxiety, low self esteem, and trauma become calm, confident, bold, and unapologetically feminine in just 2 days. In today's live, we'll explore the question that comes up very often, which is the anxiety that comes from the fear of being cheated on by your man. It could be your spouse or partner. Now, this is a very normal case. It's something which comes up so frequently in our society, but not spoken about as often as it should be. Another version of this is a milder one, of course, which is, are you feeling afraid that your partner, your man, is getting bored of you? In my opinion, they are one and the same thing, except that they are in varying degrees of intensity. So let's dive right in and look at this question and inquire it further. All right. So, how does this anxiety show up in real life, and what does it result into? Number one, it could lead to frequent arguments or fights with your partner or spouse. Number two, decreasing levels of trust. Number three, emotional eating habits. I'm talking about eating a tub of ice cream at night, comfort food. That's right. Number four, disturbed sleeping patterns. Number five, non-stop mental chatter. The voice in your head just does not shut up. Number six, frequent mood swings. Number seven, overall a less than positive quality of life. If you think I've missed out on something, I'm pretty sure I may have. Feel free to drop in a comment and add on to this, or drop me a message if that's okay with you. All right, let's move on. Now, when so many things are happening, and this is what the anxiety is resulting into, people tend to do some things, they take action, and not all of these actions are necessarily helpful. Some of them may look like having a desire to constantly check on your partner or your spouse on social media, check their email, check their phone. All these things do not necessarily solve the problem, but make things even worse. And the key to understanding this problem is this. You will notice that there's a constant need to check if your hunch is right. And most people fall in this trap. They want to know if they are right, if the voice in the mind is right. But what they should really be looking into is, why does this hunch even exist in the first place? Why do you have this constant feeling? So let's inquire and go beneath that hunch. Why does the hunch exist? Mostly it is because of emotional and mental impressions in the subconscious mind, of course. That's what is happening. Now, where do these impressions come from? These impressions could be coming from your personal experience, or it could be coming from shared experience. And I'll give you examples of both. Personal could be, of course, if you've been through relationships where you have experienced infidelity or cheating firsthand on most occasions, then of course your mind makes a pattern and it's expecting to be cheated on again. All right, so that's our mind is a pattern recognizing machine. That's what it does. Number two, which is of course shared experience, could be because you may have seen someone like a friend or a relative going through an experience of infidelity or being cheated on, or you may have seen a movie, or you may have read a news article. The degree to which you were emotionally involved in these shared experiences will determine the depth of the impression formed in your subconscious mind. Okay, either ways the impression is formed. Now, here's what happens when you get into a relationship. Even if you find a stable guy, this is what happens. You walk into a relationship with these subconscious impression. One side of the impressions says, it states that, let's say, for example, a simplistic statement, all men are cheaters. Okay. And there is the other side of you which wants something from this relationship, which could be something as basic as love. Now, there itself, you see that there are two things that you want from a relationship, that you're looking out in a relationship, not a want, but you're looking out in a relationship, and they're both pulling you in opposite direction. These impressions create what we call double bind. That's a paradox. And as funny as it sounds, our mind can do that. Our mind creates these patterns which we believe in, and they're not always right. Now, even if you meet Mr. Right Guy, constantly your mind will keep saying, what if he's cheating on me? What if he is with that girl? What if he's messaging her? What if he's talking to that person? Why is he looking at her that way? Like you have all of these thoughts in your mind constantly. Why is that happening? There may be nothing actually that may be happening in reality, but your mind will keep doing that because it has learned to recognize a pattern because of the impressions that are embedded deep inside. I'll prove it to you right now, okay? And let's see how that works out. So see this test for yourself right now. Watch my hand and watch what I'm doing, okay? Pay attention to the sounds and to what you see. All right, let's go. Ooh. 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 So if you heard the voice that I was making, if you heard it for the 5th time, along with the sign that I made, that was your mind filling in the information. After it heard and saw the sign together 4 times in a row, it just comes to a conclusion that the 5th time also will be the same. That's a very simplistic explanation. You were not emotionally involved with this example, but think about it when these impressions are made at a deep emotional state. That goes very deep, and that's how the mind forms the impression. So what happens now is, even if you meet the right guy, he might still appear to be a villain, because you might just tend to look at him through the stained glasses of these subconscious impressions. Now, as long as these impressions remain in your subconscious mind, no amount of waiting for Mr. Right Guy is going to change that. So the solution, of course, is twofold. Number one is removing these subconscious impressions from the roots. It's just like removing weeds from your garden. Like if you keep trimming them out, they're not going to go away. If you really want to remove the weeds, you want to pull them out from the roots, maybe even pour some poison into the root and make sure they're completely gone. Clean out the mud, bring in good mud, tend to the mud, bring the soil, really make it rich, and then grow your garden beautifully again. Okay, that's just a metaphor for what's happening in the subconscious. The second approach to this, after we've done the inner work of removing these impressions, is to increase your level of self-worth several notches higher, so much stronger that you will only go for men who match up to your level of self-worth and value your self-worth exactly as you value it yourself. Now, when you're walking into the world like this, and when you're in relationships like this, you are not afraid of what the other person does. People do what they need to do based on their own subconscious impressions. Even if a guy goes and cheats at that stage, it is not reflecting on you. You know that at any stage it does not reflect on you, but when you are at this level of mind, you know that this is true about you. All right? And what's the gain of this? It's the freedom that you have to be truly alive to yourself and to the relationship that you are. You're not being killed inside by the mental voice at all times. Now, not addressing this impression only tends to increase the anxiety in the long run. If you ask me, that's not such a bad thing, because anxiety is not your enemy. Anxiety is just the messenger. The real question, however, my friend, is, are you getting the message yet? That brings us to the end of today's FB Live. If you enjoyed this session, if this made sense to you, please feel free to engage with the content. And of course, you can always drop me a message. Also, if this is something that might be useful for somebody in a certain state of mind, please do the good karma and share it with them. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Have a great day ahead and God bless you. Bye.